Ayun, so it's already 6:30. Kuya Doc, start na po ba tayo?
Yes po.
Sige Kuya. Ayan, so muli, good evening everyone. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Muli ang pagbati dito sa amin sa Ilocos Sur ay naimbag arabii kada kay amin. So welcome to the day 3, last day of authentic knowing, authentic living, stories from the lens of the experiencer, and of course, the oath-taking of new research consultants. So I am Jose Victoriano-Valdez, a teacher 3 from Candon City High School, Candon City Division, Region 1, your moderator for tonight. And before anything else, of course, hindi ko hayaan na matapos ang araw na ito na hindi nababati ang lahat. Happy World Teacher Celebration po sa inyong lahat, sa lahat po ng mga guro na walang humpay na nagpapagal at nagpupunyagi sa kabila po ng pandemya. Maraming salamat po. Mabuhay po kayo mga dakilang bayan. So this event is an initiative of the EdCore Educational Research Center under its advocacy project Sagip Mananaliksik for Everyone, which aims to help researchers, both students and professionals all over the country, especially during this time of pandemic. And alongside with the Project Sagip Mananaliksik for Everyone is the Project Sagip Mananaliksik One-on-One. These projects are acknowledged by the Department of Education through their advisories. And of course, we would like to recognize the overall project coordinators who spearheaded these events. We have Dr. Bernadette L. Laharde for Project Sagip Manaliksik for Everyone. We also have Dr. Adrian Lawrence P. Carvajal for Project Manaliksik One-on-One. And of course, syempre hindi natin dapat kalimutan. We would like also to acknowledge and recognize the man behind all of EdCore, no other than Dr. Richard T. Sanchez, the head research consultant. Doc, batang-bata ka pa dito.
Huwag mo nang i-update.
And of course, we would also like to recognize all the national consultants, our regional coordinators, provincial, division, city coordinators, and all EdCore research consultants, and even other participants who are present in this platform. And now, to formally start this exciting yet full of learning endeavor in behalf of EdCore, let us listen to the welcome message of Mr. Lemuel M. Mariano, LPT, classroom teacher at St. Louis University Laboratory Junior High School, Baguio City. Let us give him a virtual clap. Sir Lemuel, the virtual floor is now yours.
Audible po ba ako?
Yes, sir.
So, thank you, Sir Jose, one of our most sought-after research consultant, resource speaker, and passionate teacher 3 from Candon City National High School. Magandang gabi po sa ating lahat, lalo na sa mga teachers na nandito. Belated Happy World Teachers Month po. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of EdCore team, it is my pleasure to welcome you to tonight's webinar. Alvin Toffler wrote that the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who can't read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. For many, the term unlearn is one that is not often used in the school setting, because for most of us, educating is about augmenting knowledge. It's a gradual filling of a cup or a lighting of a torch, whichever analogy you prefer. At present, a lot of educational and social routines have veered away from what used to be the usual fashion. I am certain that somehow we will be able to combat this pandemic, but I know that maybe we will not go back to how conducting researches used to be than it was before. Because since the pandemic struck the world, so many changes were adopted by people, causing them to unlearn and relearn in countless ways. Tonight's topic will surely aid us into relearning the academic practices and guidelines in conducting qualitative research in a much better way, which will surely serve us and our communities better. I therefore invite you to watch and participate in tonight's webinar with with an open heart and mind as we equip ourselves with new set of knowledge and skills when conducting qualitative research in the service of the Filipino youth and the society. Once again, thank you and welcome to tonight's webinar.
Wow, thank you so much, Sir Lemuel, for the very welcoming yet inspiring welcome message. Pero wait lang, sir, before anything else, to all our participants, samahan niyo po ako na batiin o i-greet si Sir Lemuel ng happy birthday. Happy birthday, Sir Lemuel.
Happy
And
birthday
God
po.
Thank you po. Maraming
Baka
Happy
salamat.
birthday
baka
po.
I just hope that
Happy birthday, sir.
sana nga po hindi pandemic ngayon, and I would like to invite all of you here to come up here in Baguio City as a friend. We are experiencing a cold weather as of now talaga. Yeah. Maraming salamat.
Wow. Thank you, Sir Lemuel, for that. So we will take note of that, and then in the future, sama-sama tayong magkakape lahat. The all Edgar family.
It's a friend.
Okay, sir. As a friend. Okay, so moving on, tonight's topic, which will be shared to us by our able lecturer, is a summary of all learnings in qualitative research from the discussion in the previous qualitative events. So, fasten your seatbelt because we are about to immerse into a qualitative enlightenment. But before that, of course, let me remind you of our rules. First, always turn off your microphone. You may or may not open your camera. Use as identification the acronym of your institution and your last name and first name. Example, CGSP Jose, sorry. And if you have questions or thoughts, you may use the chat box or share them after the discussions of the lecture by using the raise hand button. And now it is my pleasure and honor to introduce to you, of course, our lecturer for tonight's activity. So our lecturer is a graduate of Master of Arts in Industrial Education at Elohio Amang Rodriguez, Sampaloc, Manila. Her eagerness to continue serve in the academe paved way in attaining her degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Educational Management at Bulacan State University. She also is currently enrolled at Lyceum of the Philippines University, Manila, with a degree of Doctor of Philosophy in International Hospitality Management. She was a former teacher at Stella Orientis and college instructor at Bulacan Polytechnic College. She also served as an educational counselor, youth staff at Carnival Cruise Lines base in Miami, Florida, USA for 5 years. She is a former guest professor at La Consolacion University, Philippines in the graduate school under the Master of Science in Hotel and Restaurant Management program. Now, she is currently an assistant professor at Bulacan State University. She is also an on-call accredited competency assessor of TESTA Bulacan with the following qualifications: bread and pastry production, cookery and food processing NC2. She also holds multiple national certification like Customer Service NC2, Tourism Promotions NC2, Travel Services NC2, and Bread and Pastry Production NC2, to name a few. She earned her international accreditation, such as Certified Hospitality Professional and Certified Guest Service Professional, which serve as an advantage in dealing with the 21st century teaching. She is also a licensed professional teacher. She also works as a master's thesis advisor at La Consolacion University, Philippines, handling MSHRM, guest panelist at Holy Angel University, Angeles, under the Doctor of Business Administration program. Currently, she's making a book under the Mindshapers Publishing, an active research collaborator at Pulsu, an active researcher, and of course, a very active EdCore research consultant. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome with a virtual clap our lecturer, Dr. Girlie M. Samson.
Thank you very much, sir, Jose, for that generous introduction. Thank you very much,
Welcome,
and
ma'am.
happy Teachers Day. So, good
Day
evening,
po.
everyone. So, it's a pleasure and a privilege for me to be a part of this event tonight. So, let me share my screen, sir. Sorry. So for tonight, I will be discussing the summary of learnings that we have in qualitative research. So I know some of you are very much interested with qualitative, and some of you, of course, was able to do qualitative researches. Sir, can I have the control for the screen? But tonight, I'm going to share you things and identify ideas that will help you to gain more on qualitative research. So I'm currently at Bulacan State University. It's a school university which is dealing with different researches. Of course, if the University of the Philippines do have the parish or publish, so different universities are also having that kind of ruling that they have to publish and they have to do researches for their faculty members and for the school. So for tonight, let me give you some insights, especially the sharing that our previous lecturers have regarding qualitative research. So let me share my slide, everyone. Okay. So with the emergence of technology now, everything is just one click of our finger. So same as with the things that we have to identify with qualitative research. So like what I've told you a while ago, so I'm Girlie Samson from Bulacan State University. So I am tasked here to discuss with you the summary of learnings on qualitative research. If we're going to recall, during September 8, 15, 22, we have gained a lot of information regarding qualitative research with our distinguished resource speakers. So now, let us recall those learnings, and later on, let's have a little activity for us to flourish and for us to identify the journey for qualitative research. So let me recall the definitions that they have when we talk about qualitative research. So when we talk about qualitative research, this is considered the basic definition. It is an empirical research which wherein are not presented in the ordinal numbers or in numbers. So when we talk about empirical, qualitative research differ because it is based on experience and based on observations, which is being opposed on being based on theory from quantitative. So um, it is also a situated activity that locates the observer in the world. So what does it mean? So when we talk about qualitative research, it doesn't really only confine the researcher for the activity or the data that is going to collect. So it has something to do with transforming the real things about the phenomena, the scenario, or the study he is conducting to. So this is also considered inductive. So when we talk about inductive research, so inductive is something like that we started collecting data and then looking patterns in order for us to draw a certain theories or conclusions. So it's really different from the quantitative type. Then, when we talk about qualitative research, it is also considered iterative. When we talk about iterative, there is a sequence of steps or processes that could be repeated in order for us to improve something. Kasi when we are doing quantitative, before po kasi, during my master's, during my PhD in educational management, we are all after quantitative researches. But now, I find it personally, I find it more convenient and more, there's a personal touch, especially with the informants and with the participants, if we are conducting the qualitative type or the qualitative method. So because there is a personal rapport, there's a personal connection of the researcher to the informants or to the participants of the study. So it is also subjective, flexible, and naturalistic. So everything could be flexible. So everything happened with the help, of course, of the participants or the informants, because that's the term that we are using in qualitative research. So instead of respondents, we are using the word informants and participants as part of the one dealing with the study. So it is considered flexible and natural in a sense that everything is in natural setting. The way on how are you going to conduct it, the way on how are you going to make the environment conducive for you between the researcher and the informants, it's really possible and it's really identified in qualitative research. So what happened with this particular thing? I don't know why what's not. Okay, so when we talk about qualitative research, so like what I've told you before, so before po kasi, it's not that popular. So there are three reasons based on research and studies why it came up to be popular. But when we talk about qualitative before, actually dated back 15th century, they identified the word qualitative. It came from the Latin word qualitas. Qualitas, which means attribute, quality, or property of something or someone. So that's why if we're going to take a look at that one, that is why qualitative researches are basically mostly focusing on attributes and qualities of a particular phenomenon, or a particular incident happening. Then, when we talk about the first identified qualitative researcher now, actually it's still unknown. But if you're going to take a look, tracing back the history, if you could still remember Sigmund Freud, if you will still remember John Piaget before, diba? They are the known psychologists. So they are the people who are studying the human behavior with regard to observations and interviews with what is happening. That's why they believe that during that time, qualitative data already exists, or rather, qualitative research already exists. Then, how it came into popularity, what we call qualitative research. So we have what we call the ground theory. So actually, this ground theory is considered an influential approach for qualitative research. Others are calling qualitative research as grounded theory, but it's not. Actually, it's a general method. It's a qualitative method, sabi nung iba. Grounded theory is a qualitative method. Actually, it's an inductive method and a general method. It was being introduced in the 1960s, followed by publishing different academic journals that focus on qualitative academic activities. So if we're going to take a look at grounded theories, these are the things that, or the scenarios that we are looking after, wherein the research is grounded on data. So, but few studies are being identified under this particular theory. So when we talk about grounded theory, like what I've told a while ago, it is considered inductive method and a general method, not qualitative method. So it is a systematic way on generating a particular theory from a systematic research. That's how grounded theory works. Then, another reason for its popularity is it was debatable at one point that qualitative research might not be compatible as quantitative methods. So the findings and contribution of qualitative research have now gained huge momentum, which shifted the way of thinking and convinced researchers that both methods can complement one another, adding strength to the value of the study field. Then, the last reason for its popularity is, if we're going to take a look, so with the quantitative research and statistical analysis software, when we talk about qualitative, we are doing it the same. They have it already. For the themes, for the patterns, for the codings, they have do the same. That's why now it is considered, and even in Bulacan State University, we are encouraging students, the undergrad students and the master students, of course, to take a qualitative method rather than quantitative method, especially now that we are in the world of computer. So the emergence of computer, online, everything is just one snap of the finger, everything is just one click of the mouse. Diba? So it will be much better, and they will prove more when they will be doing the what we call qualitative research. Then let us identify and recall its differences, the quantitative from qualitative research. So from philosophical foundation, like I've mentioned a while ago, qualitative is inductive. It is considered holistic. While on the other hand, on the opposite, quantitative is deductive and reductionalist. Then for the aim, of course, when we are doing quantitative research, we are testing the preset hypothesis of the study. But on the other hand, for qualitative, we explore complex human issues. We explore insights, we explore theories, and so on and so forth. Then for the study plan, it is considered stepwise predetermined. Everything is fixed. On qualitative, the position of the researcher in exploring the world is considered the integral part of the research process. And then assessing quality of outcomes. When we talk about quantitative, direct test of validity, reliability using statistics. When we talk about qualitative, indirect quality assurance method of trustworthiness. Trustworthiness in a sense that is it credible, transferable, and so on and so forth. Then sample size. Of course, when we talk about quantitative, it tends to be larger, thousands, hundreds. When we talk about qualitative, tends to be smaller. It's more focused, and smaller group or sample is being identified. Then study setting. When we talk about quantitative, it can be controlled. On the other hand, when we talk about qualitative, tends to be so natural. It's usually on a natural setting. Another thing is the data reporting. So when we talk about data reporting, so reported via statistical analysis, of course, when we talk about quantitative, in numerical value and numerical data. And on qualitative, of course, reported via the language of the researcher, or what we call the non-data or textual data or non-numerical. So that's how they are being differentiated. So sabi nga, which method is better? So others are saying it's quantitative, it's easy. So in just one sending of G form, everything will be generated, SSPS, and so on and so forth. Others are saying they prefer qualitative. But in general, of course, they do have differences, they do have their own limitations, and they do have their own strengths. So when we talk about qualitative research, this is usually suitable when we try to understand and to look after a phenomena or a phenomenon, looking for experiences, challenges, perspectives, opinions, or meaning. While on the other hand, when we talk about quantitative research, usually we're looking after prevalences, risks, factors affecting effectiveness, acceptability, correlations, causations, and others. So if we're going to take a look, of course, which method is better, so it depends on the researcher and it depends on the study he or she wants to pursue. Then another thing with qualitative data, we do have, or qualitative research rather, we do have different basic approaches which is being identified. So there are different approaches being used in qualitative research. So we have the phenomenology. I know you already heard about it. Ethnography, inductive thematic analysis, the ITA, grounded theory, case study, discourse, conversational analysis, narrative analysis, mixed methods. So if we're going to take a look at this one, so these are considered the approaches on how are we going to conduct a particular study or a particular research qualitatively. So this one, it tends to be differ depending on, of course, on the features. So each particular approach do have different features to identify when we talk about qualitative research. So when we talk about phenomenology, so usually with this one, it focuses on individual differences and it focuses on the individual experiences, perceptions, and others. When we talk about ethnography, so meaning to say, usually this one goes with community immersion. They are immersing in a certain cultural area. So oriented towards studying a shared meaning and practices of a certain group. When we talk about inductive thematic analysis or the what we call ITA, so it has something to do with involvement on identifying and coding emergent themes within a given data. So usually when we talk about ITA, so it is better to have it in group interviews rather than individual. Then of course, the grounded theory, it is an inductive data collection and analytic method. Then we do have also case study. When we talk about case study, we are looking after a unique characteristic or unique thing about a particular case under study. Then discourse, conversation, analysis. So naturally, usually this one is being identified when a particular qualitative research focus on public events and documents. And then narrative analysis. So use usually can be identified in generating narratives, particularly the questions that need to aim eliciting a particular story or the importance of those stories. How are the participants are being identified in a certain larger culture. And then, of course, the last approach is the mixed methods. So it has something to do with integrating qualitative and quantitative data, meaning in a single study. The study that I conducted during my educational management degree is considered, I used the approach of mixed methods. It's a combination of qualitative and quantitative methods. Then, aside from the approaches, of course, we do have the different elements of qualitative research. So if quantitative research do have chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, this is the difference between a quantitative and qualitative. Like what I told you, it's researcher based. So meaning to say, you were the one who's going to identify how long, how thick your study will be. Unlike with quantitative, there's a fixed and predetermined step that you have to undergo. So when we talk about the different elements, we do have the research question, ethics, sampling strategies, data collection methods, data analysis, results, and write-up. So these are usually common thing that is under the elements of the qualitative research. So let's start with what we call the research question. So this is considered one of the difficult process in a qualitative research. The way on how are you going to formulate your research question. So I have here an example. We conducted a study 2019 regarding academic journey. Actually, we derive at the title after identifying the research questions. So here are the 3 research questions that we identified. So how may the academic performance of the working students of College of Home Economics during the school year 2017 to 2018 be assessed? How do they cope with the identified challenges? And how may the academic performance be upgraded? So why we came up with this particular questions? Because during that time, in the year 2017 to 2018, I found out because I was currently the chairperson, the program chair of the College of Home Economics. I found out that there are so many students wherein working at McDonald's in the QSR quick service restaurants, and it's really affect their academic performance. So we came up with this particular study instead of doing tracer and so on and so forth. So we ended up doing this particular thing. So we came up with the title, The Academic Journey of Working Students in the College of Home Economics. So why we chose qualitative method? Because we do believe that it will be more helpful for the college and for the students to identify their study habits if we will have personal connection, if we will be interviewing and being open-minded with them. So that's how we deal with this particular study. That's why we came up with this one. So it's really hard creating a research question. It is one of the difficult thing part of the process in making qualitative research. Then we also have, since I was a product of an OFW parents, I also have a qualitative study on katas ng Saudi, students' valuation or of their OFW parents. So I was identified there. The questions that I make there is how are the OFW parents cope up with their siblings while they're far away from home. And another thing is how these particular challenges affect the life of the life of the student. Because I was born without a father because he's an OFW, so that's why I intended to make that one. And it really helps a lot, especially those students that are finding it struggling and challenging being on their own without their parent. Because their parent, of course, need to sustain their studies. That's why they are going abroad. So it's something to do with valuing your OFW parent. And it's really amazing that you can at the end the results and the write-ups, it's really I got emotional because even though we have not to be emotional, but I got emotional because of course I can relate on what they are doing and what they are saying on the interview. But it really helps them, especially boosting their confidence and doing what needs to be done when you have an OFW parent. And then another element is, of course, ethics. So since when we talk about qualitative, I do believe that it can make or break a participant or an informant if we are doing qualitative research. That's why if we talk about ethical standard is very important in qualitative research. So when we talk about ethical standard, it doesn't necessarily mean that we are just focusing on upholding the standards of the qualitative research. But ethics include the following. Of course, autonomy. We have to respect the rights of each individual. We cannot force an informant or a participant to answer our questions, to answer our survey. Of course, there is ethical considerations. There is consent that you have to get from the participant. Actually, others are having observations. They have the what we call overt observation. When we talk about overt observation, this is with consent. The participants or the informants know about it. When we talk about covert, so it's without any consent. So the participants or the informant doesn't know about it. Then beneficence, so doing good from the result of the research. Of course, I do believe that making qualitative research, it's not only for self-serving purposes, but definitely it should have a good result that will help other researchers too. And then non-maleficence. not doing harm to the patients or to the informants or participants, be it physical, psychological, and emotional. Because they will get emotional. Like what I've told you, it can make or break a particular participants because maybe that particular experience could be traumatic on the participant or on the informant. So we have to be careful with it. We have to be careful with our words, our actions when we are doing qualitative researches. And justice being equal, fair, and responsible. So we have to be equal, we have to be fair, confidentiality, we have to be responsible with our actions. So if we are conducting qualitative research, we should know that ethical standards is considered a must. And then the sampling strategies being used in qualitative research. So judgment, purposeful sampling. So when we talk about this one, this is the most commonly used sampling. Why? Because when we talk about this one, this is common. It is a thing wherein the researchers seek out participants who will answer the research question the most effectively. So this also include benefits from the broad sense, which is based on their intellect, geographical location, gender, experience, and of course, beliefs. So usually participants may also suggest other participants who have the same experience or who have in that particular same scenario. Then we have theoretical sampling. On theoretical sampling, it has something to do with necessitating or building theories from the emerging data. So that's why others are using theoretical because sometimes they keep on selecting new sample in order to elaborate on the new theories that they needed or may be needed. That's why they are using theoretical. And the last one is the convenience sampling. So this is list rigorous technique when we talk about qualitative research, essentially because it involves the most accessible subjects. Although being the least rigorous, when we talk about convenience, this is considered naman as the most effective or financially and in terms of time and effort demands. So those are the different sampling strategies. And then we have the data collection methods. So when we talk about data collection methods, so there are different method being used. We have the in-depth interviews, the semi-structured interviews, usually use open-ended questions. We have group interviews. We have observations. We have action research. This is very common, especially in Department of Education, I think, and reports and other methods. So when we talk about in-depth interview, semi-structured interview, or open-ended interview, participants are being interviewed either with or without guided questions. It depends on the research questions that will supply by the answer that will supply by the informants or the participants. Then when we talk about group interviews, so actually during the 20th century, they're already using this particular method, collection of data method. So usually it can be done on one-on-one or it can be done through group interviews. So they are interviewing the same group of individuals or participants or informants who have the same experience, and out of that particular interview, the group, they can came up or emerge with the things that or the insights that they may need in that particular study. Then of course we have the observations. So usually when we talk about observations, it has something to do with gathering the data and observing people or a particular event in their natural environment. And then it also important to understand that the implication of watching a particular individual depend on whether the observation is good or bad. So meaning to say, like what I've told you, we do have the one being observed with a consent and the one being observed without a consent. So if we're going to take a look at this one, of course, there are cases that a particular qualitative research needs to have on-site observation. So when we talk about on-site observation, you have to go on a particular establishment, you have to go on a particular area in order to look what the informant or the participant are doing. And we have the what we call action research. So when we talk about action research, this is considered reflective process that requires individual work or with a team, not to only find solutions for a particular problems or research questions, but also on how are you going to improve or the way the team work to solve that particular questions and problems. And we also have reports and other methods. When we talk about reports and other methods, especially now with the emergence of the online teaching and online learning, so online interviews are being identified over an instant messaging service, survey questionnaire online, so through Google Forms, and then they can also have physical copy or sending questionnaires, and then they will be answering handwritten or typewritten, and then returning it back to the researcher. So it's just one click of the mouse, everything will be given. But of course, a lot of this online can be called, sometimes they are calling it as remote interviewing. So they are getting the data from the informants and participants in a remote way. And then we have the data analysis, thematic analysis. So it has 3 stages when we talk about data analysis. So we have this descriptive coding, interpretive coding, and the defining overarching themes. So when we talk about descriptive coding, this is the time that a particular data is being analyzed and being coded. For example, you are working on working student, so you cannot write the name of the student in your paper or on your manuscript. So you can code them using student working student, WS1 and WS2, and so on and so forth. And then we have interpretive coding. On the other hand, when we talk about interpretive coding, this is the time wherein, aside from giving the code to the informant or the participant, you have to identify and read the transcripts, or you have to identify the data that is being supplemented by the informant or the participant in order for you to interpret it. Usually, they have to go along with the group. So you have to group all the answers, all the coded answers, and then interpret it. And the last one is defining the overarching themes. So this is the time that you're going to identify the themes on the study or on the research that you are making. And we have this one also, the results and write-ups. I don't know what happened. When we talk about the results and write-up, of course, this is considered the end product of a particular qualitative research. So usually, it has something to do with giving you, of course, what really happened, what really transpired from the study that you conducted. So for the critiquing of qualitative research, so compared to quantitative research, qualitative research is a bit, since it's a bit personal by nature and natural, so this is usually identified 4 important qualities. So credibility, of course, confidence in the truth of the findings. It is what the participant actually said, or has the meaning been lost. That's why if you are going to do the coding and transcribing, you have to listen to the transcription over and over again in order for you to transcribe it and in order for you to identify what's really in that particular answer. Then transferability, showing that the findings have applicability in other contexts. The qualitative form of generalizability. Then we have dependability, showing that the findings are consistent, that could be repeated if the same questions or environment were identical. And confirmability, a degree of neutrality or the extent to which the finding of a study are shaped by the respondents and not researcher bias, motivation, or interest. And I have here an activity for everyone. So before we have the open forum, so I named the activity Journey to Qualitative Research. So what we're going to do is let us take a short but sweet journey to qualitative research and method as teacher or faculty member of your respective school. So let us think of three possible research questions that would lead us to qualitative research journey. Of course, I'm not giving you the day, just the night tonight, so you can think it over and you can send it on my email and we can talk and discuss about it when you are looking after. So here are the references of the things that I discussed tonight. So I hope you learned and you are identified some information needed in making qualitative research based on the summary of our learnings. So thank you for listening.
Ayun. Thank you, Doc Girlie Samson, for the lecture, for the wonderful sharing of your expertise tonight. Parang kanina habang nakikinig ako, it's as if I have already attended all the trainings from the qualitative discussions from the previous events. So thank you so much, Doc, for your sharing tonight.
Thank you.
Yes, Doc. So before we proceed with the open forum, Doc, we shall be having the oath taking of the new research consultants. And then later on, we will be going through with the questions if there's any. I think meron ng isa. So
Yes.
ipapark muna po natin ang question. But if you have questions for clarifications or if you have any sharing that you would like to share, please, you can type it in the chat box or later on you can raise your hand and you will be acknowledged. So let me just share my screen once again. So there you go. We are now about to do the oath taking of new research consultants. To our new research consultants, pwede po bang magbukas tayo ng ating camera? To our new research consultants who will be having their oath taking. And so again, may we request our new research consultants who will take the oath to please open your camera and your microphone. And now, to administer the oath taking, may we call on Mr. J.D. Familaran, LPT, MAEd, Course Regional Coordinator for Region 4B, Mimaropa. Sir J. Hello, Sir J. Nandito na po si Sir J. Again, may I request our new research consultants who will be having their oath taking. Nakabukas na po ba ang kanilang mga camera? Kuya Doc, ayan, naka-ready na sila. So once again, may we call on Sir J. D. Familaran, LPT, MAEd, Course Regional Coordinator for Region 4B, Mimaropa, to administer the oath. Sir J, the
Connecting
virtual
lang daw
code is yours
sandali.
now.
Kuya Jay, connecting lang daw sandali.
Okay, sir. Okay, Kuya. Ayan, once again, if you have questions for clarifications, or if you would like to share experiences, please do not hesitate to type it in the chat box po. Or later on, if you would like to raise your hand, you will be acknowledged. Ayan, so kanina, gaya nga ng sabi ko kanina while I was watching and listening to the lecture, sabi ko, it's as if I have already attended the
Good evening, everyone.
previous events. Ayan na si Sir J. Sir J. Yes, Sir J, you can now...
Yes, sir. Sorry po. Na-disconnect lang, sir.
It's okay, sir. It's okay, sir.
Okay na po, sir? Shall we start po?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right po. So let us start. So once again po, good evening to everyone
Good
and
evening.
welcome to EdCore. And to start our
Thank you.
oath taking, please raise your, yes po, good evening, sorry. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. Okay na po?
Yeah.
Hello po, naririnig po ba ako?
Loud and clear, sir.
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Hello? All right po. Sige po. Let us start po. So, all right po. So once again po, let us raise our right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Wilson E. Gamao,
Do solemnly and sincerely
Do solemnly and
sincerely
sincerely
swear and declare
swear and
declare
bilang kaganawan ang mga pilot site para sa COVID vaccination ng mga minor de edad.
that I will faithfully, truly and faithfully
that I will truly and
faithfully
and to the best of my skills
into the
And
best
to
of
the
my
best
of my
skills
my skills,
knowledge and abilities
knowledge
Knowledge
and
and
abilities execute the powers
execute the
powers
and trust reposed in me.
and trust
reposed
in me.
And trust reposed in me as EdCore Educational Research Centers state your position.
Educational Research Center
research consultant.
So help me God. So
So
once again po,
help me God.
congratulations to all of you and welcome to EdCore.
Thank you so much.
Ayan, thank you so much,
Thank you po.
CJ Familaran, and congratulations po to our new research consultants of EdCore. Welcome po to the family. And now, to give her acceptance speech, may we call on Miss Donna Paz E. Amboy, RMC, LPT, MAEd, the Teacher 3 of Bulbugan National High School, Santa Maria Gloria Oriental, Mindoro, Philippines. You may now take the virtual floor. Ma'am.
Yes po. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the newly inducted research consultants, I would like to extend our deepest gratitude and appreciation for making us part of this growing organization. Rest assured that we are always willing to render our expertise and services when the need arises. And we also promise to abide to all the existing guidelines and protocols of this meaningful organization. Once again, thank you and congratulations to all of us, and keep safe, everyone.
Thank you so much, Miss Donna Paz E. Amboy, RFT, LPT, MAEd, for the acceptance speech. Ayan, so once again, congratulations po sa inyo lahat. So before we proceed with the question and answer portion, may I ask everyone to please open your camera for the picture taking. Kuya Doc, naka-ready na po ba ang pag-screenshot?
Sige, sige. Sir, pakitanggal mo muna yung sa ano mo.
Ay, sige po, Doc.
Yung naka-share. Ang ganda ni ma'am dyan, ah. Okay po, ready po. 1, 2, 3. Okay, wait lang po. Okay, last one po. 1, 2, 3. Okay po, thank you po.
Ayan, thank you so much po, Kuya Doc. Again, congratulations po to our new EdCore Research Consultants. And now, let us proceed to the question and answer portion. Dr. Girlie? So we have here, I think, meron tayong isang question dito. Do you have an example of data analysis thematically done? Just like example of stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3, Doc.
Yeah.
From,
Dr. Lee,
from G. Natividad.
thank you, Ma'am G, for that wonderful question. O, parang nasa Miss Universe, di ba? So, when we talk about that thematic coding, that is really one of the struggle also when we are doing qualitative research, the transcription. Because I have already experienced one. So, here are the research questions during that time. The title of the study is the Socio-Economic Value of National Certification to Food Industry Graduates in Bulacan. So, there are 3 research questions that I made. What socioeconomic gains have food industry graduates achieved after receiving national certifications? What challenges are encountered by food industry graduates in the workplace? And what action plan may be proposed to enhance the curricular program of the food industry to better prepare graduates for national certification? So with regard to the thematic analysis, of course, we have to undergo the 3 stages. So we have the descriptive coding. Of course, before I do these 3 stages, I have to repeat and recall and look over because I conducted a personal interview and then I recorded the interview as well with the informant, of course with the consent of the informant or the participant during that time. So before doing it, I recall the recordings over and over again because there are so many cuts and so on and so forth before the transcription. So after identifying it, I identify the descriptive coding. So when we talk about descriptive coding, so what I did is, since I am working on the food industry graduates, so they are not anymore already in the school, they are outside the world in the workplace. So what I did is I identified first the with the descriptive coding, the stage 1, I identify first what are the answers of that particular graduates or food industry graduates. And then after identifying it, I identify per question, per research question. For example, for number 1, for the second question, what are the challenges that they encountered when they are in the workplace? So in the descriptive coding, what I did is identify all the challenges that they have or that they gain, and then after that, I need to do the second stage, interpretative coding, wherein I need to interpret. I need to identify them kung if that particular challenges was brought by the certification, was brought by the school, or was brought by the workplace or the environment they are working on. And on the last part, of course, you have to define the overarching themes. You have to identify, after identifying them, the answers, of course, you have to code them, you have to theme them, and you have to identify which is essential and which is not. So that's how they do it. That's why if looking at the transcription of my paper, so yung for example, FIG stands for Food Industry Graduate, FIG 10. So these are their answers on the first part. So kailangan po nilang mag-NC2 para meron silang license. Madali silang matanggap sa trabaho at dagdag knowledge para kapag nasa trabaho na po sila, that's their answer. That's why I have to translate it in English. So they need national certificate too, so they can have a license. It will be easy for them to get a job. They will find, and they will also acquire more knowledge, which will help them do well at their talk about transcription is you have to have and look for the best grammarian that will help you out in your the translation and toto. So kung ano yung sinabi ni parties coding or data analysis.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. Ayan, so I hope nasagot po yung tanong ni Ma'am or Sir po Bachi Natividad, sorry.
Ma'am po.
Ay, Ma'am, ayan.
Kuya
For
Jose.
example po,
Oh.
you can just email me and then I'm gonna send you the sample, my paper, my manuscript. So it can be served
Yes.
as a
Oo,
Okay.
Sir Jose. Yung kasing
Kuya.
tinatanong ni Doc G. Actually po kasi ang talk ni Doc Girlie ay summary na lamang po ng mga natutunan sa qualitative research. Bago po kasi ang summary na ito, mayroon tayong mga individual talks about the specific topic. So ang assignment po kasi talaga niya ngayon ang nakatask sa kanya is just to give the summary. Pero palagay ko kahit na summary lang ang assignment niya, she can give you yung request ninyo na sample ng qualitative data analysis, and I think magsisend naman siya. Kasi nakita ko rin dito Doc Jose Sir Jose, merong may tanong si Doc Alan, do we have a separate webinar about the analysis of quali data manually? I think yung sagot ko kanina that would also apply dito sa tinatanong ni Doc Alan. Thank you po.
Pero
Salamat kayo, Doc.
Doc Alan, sorry po. Doc Alan, when we talk about po naman qualitative, kapag po sa data analysis ng qualitative, it's your will. Kasi it depends on what came up from the answers of the informant. So basically, kayo po talaga ang makakaalam on how are you going to code it, how are you going to theme it, and look for patterns. Because at the end, you have to justify those themes, those patterns with related literature. Kasi hindi naman po pwede na yung base lang po doon.
Correct, Doc Girlie. I would agree on that. Kasi maski ako, Doc, naranasan ko na din mag-qualitative during my qualitative research subject. And ang hirap talagang mag-coding. Lalo yung ano kasi namin, Doc, is Filipino. And then ang ano kasi namin, ang topic namin, Doc, is ano ang tingin ng mga mag-aaral ng Mountain Province sa pagsasalita ng Filipino. So ang daming lumabas na mga ano noon, ng mga themes na iba-iba yung sagot ng mga mag-aaral kung ano ang tingin nila sa pagsasalita ng Filipino kapag nasa labas sila, kapag nasa palengke, kapag nasa jeep, mga ganong halimbawa. So, ayun.
If I'm not
Thank you,
mistaken
Dr.
po, it's yes, sir. Thank you, sir. It's Sir KV Barun who was the one assigned on that.
Yeah, yes, Doc.
I remember so well the thematic discussion on data analysis of Sir KV.
Yes, Doc. Actually po, mga fellow consultants, if you want to review the previous lectures, nasa YouTube po natin lahat ng iyon. So kung na-miss out po natin yung mga time ng lectures na yon, you can just visit. And of course, do not forget to like and subscribe na rin our YouTube channel. Okay, so we have here a message from, wait lang, from Ma'am Minerva Dupulan. Congratulations, Doc Girlie. Very well said. Ang galing ng pagkaka-explain niyo po.
Thank you po, ma'am.
And ayun, nasagot na yung tanong kanina ni Doc Alan. Nasagot na rin yung tanong kay yung request ni Doc G, Doc Girlie, yung example, siguro i-contact ka na lang.
Sa email na lang, sir. I posted my email.
And from Kuya Doc Richard, meron po separate webinar for manual data analysis quali sa nakaraang webinars po natin. Kasi po, nasa summary na lang si Dr. Yes. So, Dr. Lee is already presenting to us a summary of all learnings po.
Yes.
Okay. Ayan, so we have here a sharing from Mindanao State University ata ito, Dr. Dennis Reynosa. Sabi po niya, in quality research. Sir, would you like to share? Nahiya si Doc. Okay lang po yun, Doc. So in quality research, you will be faced also with much information that is new to you. So you need also to decide what is important and what you accept. Dr. Lee?
Yes, sir. It's really very kumbaga, this particular information, there are things that are really new to you. That's why it's really different. That's why if I'm going to give advice, let's embrace qualitative research. Or if you are afraid of embracing qualitative research, let's start with mixed methods. So, meron pa rin quanti, but still, you have the quali in order to support the quantitative data that you gathered. It's really, iba po talaga yung feeling when we are doing qualitative research. So, kumbaga, it's not that I'm not after quantitative because I'm also a product of quantitative during my master's degree. But the thing is, it really touches you as a researcher what really matters on the study. And it really helps you to think and widen your vocabulary kasi talagang you have to read and immerse yourself with related literature, with the things, especially if it's getting emotional. Of course, you have to detach your feelings with the participants and with the informants. You cannot be emotional, you cannot be biased. So everything should be transformed into the new world that you are looking after. And it really helps you because you will gain things from it. So one thing is new when we talk about qualitative research. I don't know po if others are having this one. So in Manila, because I was enrolled now at Manila, they are having the what we call making your own theory out of the research that you are making. So it's something like you have to look after on the informants and you have to look after on the data and then you have to make a theory out of it. Hindi ka na pwedeng kumuha ng theory which is being identified on the internet or which is being seen on the books, but you have to make your own based on the data that you collected, which is very good, especially for us educators. So it will really help us flourish and it will really help us to become a better researcher, especially in the future, that we are now in a different world. It's actually shall we say better normal? Hindi na kasi new normal, di ba? We can say it a better normal. So for a better normal, so let us embrace also a better qualitative research or halfly qualitative research. So we will expand more our learnings and of course we can also help others. Kasi when you are having a qualitative, you are making a connection with your informant. In the same way, like what I've told you, it can make or break your participant, but malay nyo makatulong pa po kayo dun sa informant or dun sa participant that is undergoing a certain incident or a certain experience or challenge in her life. Lalo na po ngayong pandemic, especially with the students. So basically po, kaya po yung iba nagugulat when we talk about quantitative and qualitative. Ang quantitative po kasi, for example, sa COVID, we're looking after the number of patients that are positive in COVID. We can do it quantitative. But the experience, the recovery, and the challenges that positive patient endured, we can have it in qualitative study or in qualitative research.
Ayan, thank you so much, Doc Girlie. So, very well said.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Doc.
Question, sir.
Yes po, Doc. Pero,
kay
so
Sir
we have here a message.
Jeffrey Ballesteros. What advice
Yes,
you
Doc.
could share to all of us in conducting qualitative research based on your experience, Doc? Yun nga po, you have to embrace it. Kasi sabi nga nila, all things are difficult before it became easy. It will not be easy if you're not going to embrace it. You have to try it on. You have to identify it. Especially now with the senior high school students, even the junior high school students in DepEd, all of us are struggling, di ba? Ngayon. Wala namang pong hindi nag-i-struggle eh. Walang sino mang taong hindi nag-i-struggle ngayon. Even sabihin na ikaw ang pinakamayaman dito sa buong Pilipinas or sa buong mundo, we are all struggling. So basically, that could also help. Helping them, asking them questions. Di ba yung simple question lang na, kamusta ka na? Or may kaibigan ka na nag-positive. So if you're going to take a look, it's part of making it a qualitative gathering of data way. And it really helps other people. So let's embrace po quali research. Or if you are afraid, we can have it mixed methods first, quanti and then quali. And then at the end, you can have it quali. Medyo dramatic po kasi ang dating ng quali. Mas challenging and struggling compared to quantitative. But you will learn a lot po, definitely. And you will touch others' heart and inspire others, especially if they read your research. So in UP po kasi, when I was doing my research, I saw different research, qualitative research at UP. So ganito po kakapal talaga yung mga qualitative research nila. So that's how they express themselves. That's how they deal with the experience of their informants and participants. Yun nga lang po, kailangan po natin ng maraming vocabularies and immersing ourselves with related literature. So, ipapractice po natin yung 5 vocabulary a day. Yun po kasi yung turo ng nanay ko. 5 vocabulary a day, make the doctor away. Kasi daw po dapat kailangan natin ng 5 vocabulary para hindi tayo nakakalimot. Thank you po. I hope I answered your questions.
Thank you, Doc, for the sharing. Wow, totoo naman talaga kasi when we conduct research, we need to dive in to our research. So kailangan natin sumubuong. Thank you, Doc. So we have here a comment. Congratulations. I am interested in qualitative action research. We also have here a question, Doc. Is it necessary po ba to use NVivo to generate themes in doing quali study? Meron po bang session on NVivo? Thanks. From
Yan po
Wilson E. Gamaw.
Yes po. Sir Wilson, yan po yung ngayong ine-explore nila. Same with the quantitative, yung mga SSPS. So, they have NVivo. I don't know po kung meron dito tayo sa EdCore. So, if they will give us a very good session regarding it. So, kasi yung themings nila, yung interpretive coding is being done in a computer way.
Thank you, Doc. So we also have here a message. Thank you, Ma'am. I gained so much knowledge and perspectives from you. Kudos from Ma'am Lyra Apurillo. We also have here from Sir Jeffrey. I think yung sinasabi mo kanina about dun sa question is ni Dr. Dennis, Ma'am, yung sa emic and ethic.
Yes, ma'am.
And we also have here, you are right, Doc. I think we call it theorizing from Ma'am Lyra. I think nagtataas din kanina si Dr. Carvajal. Doc?
Okay. Good morning.
Baka
Mr.
magpo-promote ng
Valdez.
EdCore Award kan, Sir Chairman.
Go, Doc.
Promote ko na rin. Please do apply for the EdCore Awards. It's still open. And we are still having the deliberations for the applicants for the EdCore Awards. Ma'am Girlie, Dr. Samson, it
Yes,
was
sir.
well researched to. So marami pong salamat doon. I'll be having some rejoinder po. I was asked these questions. I have worked actually before as a solo author for quali researches and tried to explore my hand on the quali researches. At the same time with the group also. So we have done researches for a group on quali researches. Yung tinanong sa amin, when we presented it sa isang conference will be, how do you address the bias and as a solo author? Incidentally, group po kami. So that's the first, the strength of the quali is also its delimitation, yung pagiging subjective niya. So yun yung naging issue. How subjective are you on the research findings that you have? So yung unang tinanong sa amin is to address the bias of the pagiging solo author. Because when you are just a solo author, you're just one set of lenses or one set of eyes looking at your data. So ang parang naisagot namin na maayos naman po is apat po kami na researchers doon when we analyze the data. So the first look, second look at the data, a third look, and fourth look. I think medyo mahirap. Ang parang nasabi sa amin, if you're a solo author doing a quality research, you're just one set of data and your paper is just going to be too subjective. Yun parang mga learnings ko ito. So I am not against naman a solo authorship for a quality research, but to avoid the biasness of the quality research, we could recruit other persons to look at the data and verify, confirm our themes that we have found. Parang yun yung isang learning ko doon, The second learning na natutunan ko na natanong sa amin will be the validation of interview guides or our questions for quali should also be validated. So yun po yun. Yun yung isa sa mga learning ko rin yan. Akala ko we do the cronback ng ating survey questionnaires ng quantitative researches. We do the cronback, we do the face content validation. Pero meron ding way of validating the quali research questions that you're going to ask your respondents. So yun yung second learning ko doon, validation of the interview guide questions. The third learning is the Max QDA. So recently I was introduced this one. Dati NVivo yung ginagamit na software. Pero ngayon may bago na naman. Kita mo, the process of doing research is continuously developed. So Max QDA, hopefully, other than NVivo, may mag-compose sa atin nito, yung Max QDA. Ano pa ba yung mga, okay. Yung for future scope ng quali researches, meron din maganda ng yung sa the way that the RRL has been recently been accepted as separate independent research articles. These are quali researches also, especially when it is done through a meta-analysis or a meta-synthesis kind of RRL reviews. It can be a good, another scope of quali researchers na wala pa sa listahan ng quali researchers. Ano pa ba yung isa? Yung bago rin na hindi ko pa natutunan, pero parang na-encounter ko lang, ay netnography. Parang ethnography, pero sa net naman to, netnography.
Online.
Which is, bago rin to na hindi ko pa natutunan dito. Hindi ko pa natutunan. So, ayun po yun, to add as a rejoinder doon po sa napakagandang talk ni Doc Girlie, Doc Samson. Thank you, Doc Girlie.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Doc. Dr. Adrian Carvajal for the insights and sharing. Ayan, maraming salamat po. So let's continue reading some comments and if there are questions. From Minerva, Doc. Doc Girlie, pwede po ba akong magpatulong sa study ko? Thanks in advance. I think you can contact Doc Girlie right after our lecture. We also have here from Ma'am Josephine, baguhan lang po ako sa research and may as an example of a qualitative. Yes, I think Dr. D can do that.
Ano po, sir?
Ayan, so pa-share daw, Doc, ng example kay Ma'am Josephine.
Sige po, sir. No problem po.
Ayan, so from PUP Paul, kay Sir Paul, I just want to share we can do thematic analysis using IBM SPSS text analysis where you can do point and select commands, RQDAs, if you are into programming and also here costs. I think that's in response to the question of Sir Wilson kanina. Thank you, Sir Paul. If you want to add, Doc?
Yeah, if you're going to take a look, with the emergence of technologies and people pursuing qualitative researches, there are developments, computer-aided things that we can use now with regard to qualitative researches. So let us not be afraid of doing quali. So we can help each other, and of course, through the aid of the emergence of internet, the emergence of computer, online surfing, and so on and so forth. So it could be easy also for us. And with regard to mentioned by Dr. Adrian a while ago, it's additional learning for me, the meta-synthesis and meta-analysis. And when we talk about validation, yes, before having the open-guided questions, I need to validate it with several experts. I think I have 5 experts before I can use the questionnaire. So the dean of the graduate school did not allow me to conduct the interview with my informants and participants unless I validated the questionnaire. So noong una kasi ganun din ang alam ko eh. So we can have it all kasi we have the questions already and so on and so forth. But it need to be validated.
Ayan, thank you, Doc. I think si Kuya Doc Richard ay nagtataas ng kamay. Yes, Kuya Doc?
Kuya Jose, kasi yung si Ma'am Josephine, gusto ko lang balikan yung tanong niya. Sabi niya, baguhan lang po ako sa research and may I ask po an example of qualitative and quantitative questions. Parang sa dating ng tanong niya, gusto niyang malaman, kapag narinig mo yung tanong, alam mo agad na ang tanong na to pang quanti. Itong tanong na to pang quali. So parang baka lang kasi ma-miss yung tanong niya. Siyempre sabi niya nga galing sa kanya from the point of view ng isang baguhang researcher. Paano niya malalaman na kapag ang tanong pang quali, pang quanti? At natural dahil hindi po ako ang speaker, ipapasa ko po kay Doc Girlie yan.
Okay, so when we talk about the quantitative, so commonly used naman, common researches that we can see is especially even on the internet, books and list of master thesis and dissertation. So we can see kapag quantitative po, more on the like what I've told you, the study is more on relationship, acceptability, reliability, correlations, causation. So those are the things. When we talk about po qualitative, so there is more of phenomena, perceptions, challenges, attitudes, insights on a particular phenomena. So usually po for research questions, ang quantitative po, what is, and so on and so forth. So usually naman po on qualitative, how, why, and so on and so forth.
Ayan, thank you, Doc. Thank you, Kuya Doc Richard, for bringing out the question. Ayan, I hope natulungan po natin si Ma'am Josephine. Ayan, so let us continue reading po some comments. We have here from Ma'am Bautista Laila. Thank you so much, Dr. Girlie. I learned so much about qualitative research, like the 5 vocabulary a day. We also have from Sir Ray Rudolph. Thank you and congratulations po, Doc. I'm so happy for your very vivid explanations and fruitful sharing of wisdom regarding research. Marami po akong natutunan. And from Kuya Doc Richard, thank you and congratulations, Ate Girlie. From Ma'am Angie Peria, thank you so much, Doc. Well explained. From Sir Kenneth Tolentino, maraming salamat po. And from Dr. Dennis, thank you so much, Dr. Lee Samson. How I wish to collab with you to do quality research. Thank you.
It's my privilege po,
Congratulations.
sir. It's my privilege
Ayan,
po
so
makasama kayo soon.
thank you so much, Doc. Ayan, so meron din nag-message para sa akin, Doc. Congratulations to Sir Ading Jose for a job well done. Thank you, Ate Minerva. Maraming salamat. Ayan, so we have here another. Thank you so much, Doc Girlie, for answering my query. And ayan, love you, Kuya Doc.
Thank you po, at
Congratulations at for keeping in touch with you, Dr. Samson, and qualitative research from Ma'am Geneva Eller. Ayan, so gaya po ng sabi ni Doc Girlie kanina, you can contact and email her in her email address po. So, Kuya Doc Richard, yung ating, Kuya Doc, yung link po for evaluation. Kuya Doc, do you have a copy?
Send ko na lang, sir. Send ko.
Okay, Kuya Doc. So, I think that's it. So, wala na tayo nakikitang questions or anything from our chat box except from the email of our lecturer, Dr. Girlie Samson. So once again, congratulations to our able lecturer tonight, Dr. Girlie M. Samson for the sharing of her expertise in terms of qualitative research. And now, let us proceed with the
moderator for tonight.
And so before anything else, of course, it is but just right. Bumibigay na yung laptop ko, Doc. Ang hirap magpaalipin sa teknolohiya talaga. Saan na ako? Ayan, so awarding of certificate to our speaker. So please let me read to you the citation. At Core Educational Research Center, Santa Ana, Pampanga, Philippines, presents this certificate of recognition to Girlie M. Samson, CHP, CGSP, LTD, PhD, Research Consultant at Core Educational Research Center for her invaluable time and expertise as a resource speaker in the National Webinar on Qualitative Research of EdCore Educational Research Center held on September 8, 22 and October 6, 2021, and conducted under the advocacy project Sige Maliksik for Everyone, with advisory from the Department of Education. Signed, Dr. Bernadette Alajarde, the project coordinator. Signed, Dr. Richard D. Sanchez, our head research consultant. Let us give Dr. Girlie Samson a heartwarming virtual clap po.
Thank you very much po, Edcore. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Ayan. So, yung ating pong evaluation sheet, nandun na po sa ating chat box. So, of course, promotional, ang last part lagi. Nasaan na yung t-shirt dito? Okay, so may we just promote the EdCourse official t-shirt and polo shirts being sold by Blueprint Shop owned by Dr. Mark Joseph D. Sangil. We would just like to clarify that it is not EdCore, hindi po EdCore ang nagbebenta ng t-shirts, but the Blueprint Shop. So we are only a beneficiary of a certain percentage of the sales. This means that interested customers should contact Dr. Sangil through his contacts found in our Facebook page. And of course, to give us her closing message, eto si Ma'am Krista. Masasabi ko, Kuya Doc, na si Ma'am Krista ay suki na ng EdCore in terms of closing message. Pero kasi siya lagi na. Thank you.
Very
Okay,
good si Ma'am Kay.
To give her closing message, may we have Ma'am Karen Krista M. Escobar, MST, RMT, Instructor I of the Cavite State University. Ma'am Krista, the virtual floor is now yours.
Thank you po, Sir Jose. And thank you po, Sir. So, medyo medyo suki na nga po ako ng EdCore and yun po. So yun, so medyo malapit po kasi sa akin sa puso kong ang EdCore family. Ayan. So, dahil, of course, sa warm welcome of the EdCore. Yan. Kahit budding pa lang po, and medyo hindi po tayo nagtatagal, still, eto, kumbaga, buhos po kasi talagang support from every research consultant. So, yan. So, I'll start my closing remarks. So, again, good evening, everyone. I would like to express my gratitude first to our seasoned speaker now this evening, Dr. Girlie M. Samson, for sharing her views, experiences, and summarizing the lessons that we learned in qualitative research. Also, I am grateful to my team members, Sir Jose Victoriano-Valdez, one of the best moderator, sabi nga ni Doc Girlie kanina. We also have Sir Lemuel Mariano, our project coordinators. We have Dr. Bernadette Harde for this webinar series, and we also have Dr. Adrian Carvajal. And also to our head research consultant, Dr. Richard Sanchez, for their contributions in the success of this webinar. I would also like to express my deepest gratitude to my fellow research consultants for supporting this evening's event. Okay, to all the participants who attended this webinar, we're very grateful for your presence. I want to congratulate you for finishing this 3-day national webinar series. So as Maya Angelou once said, when you know better, you do better. So we hope that somehow we're able to inspire you to embrace the future of research, cruciating your study soon or through future collaborations. So to our new research consultants, welcome po to our growing EdCore family. I'm looking forward to working with you in our future activities. So let me close this virtual event by saying that we should always be surrounded by positive people, just like what we have here in EdCore. And this applies not only in research, but in our life. So as mentioned by Tolentino in 2019, these are people who are passionate in their craft, or for optimistic, and for having a positive, a secured mindset, and inspiring, trustworthy, inquisitive, value-driven, and of course an encourager. So after this, that's an acronym for the positive people. So okay, through them we became more motivated and bolder to face its challenges, especially in our researches. So again, we have another productive evening. Thanks everyone, and stay safe and healthy, and God bless us all.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Karen Krista M. Escobar. Ayan, so kahit closing message na, very inspiring pa din. Thank you so much again, Ma'am Karen. So it's been a wonderful evening, everyone. So it's been a worthy time for all of us. We have gained and learned a lot. So we hope to see you in the next event of EdCore. So goodbye for now, and God bless everyone.